One of the ways that you can really level up your writing, whether it's comic book writing or manga writing or whatever kind of writing that you're doing to tell your story, is to use contrast. I emphasize so much how important contrast is. And one of the great ways that you can go for some really strong contrast is scale. And what I mean by scale is being able to bring things down to a very human level and also eventually bring things up to a very crazy level, something that's very difficult for the human mind to imagine. And so here I'm showing an example where on this page, it's just a really human level of interaction between two strangers. One of them's being really goofy and ridiculous, and there's all these like jokes being thrown back and forth about how somebody stinks and how silly and stupid somebody might be. And that's just kind of the everyday conversation that a human might have. On a bigger scale, I also went ahead and did a panel later on where we're showing this huge waterfall that these characters are thinking they're going to be able to get past somehow. And so being able to show that contrast of how big the waterfall is compared to these guys, and then also just them sitting down by a campfire, just ending their night and taking a moment to rest, that can really enhance the characters that you have and make your story better by taking the very human aspect of your characters, showing it being really vulnerable, and then also placing them in this gigantic world. And so you can take this from being, an interaction between a mother and daughter, and then somehow some kind of godlike being shows up in the next chapter or two, and being able to go back and forth between this scale and do so in a way that feels natural, right? You don't want to just jump back and forth super fast, but you want to be able to go in and out of these spaces, because if it's too small, sometimes people can take that to be a little boring. But also if it's too big and it never ever calms down, it can just kind of feel like overload. And so you want to find ways to go back and forth. And there are some stories that do a good job of just staying in one spot, like a slice of life, or maybe some kind of action story that revolves around God. So you can live in mostly one or the other, but having moments where you go into some big conflict, some big climax, and then also where you go into resolutions is really nice, even if they're just small resolutions, like sitting around the campfire for the night.